Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Ohio.
The Indians and A's wrap up the first half of the season, and we have a marquee pitching matchup. First-time All-Star Sonny Gray, who leads the league in earned run average, takes on Tribe ace Corey Kluber, who is yet to be named an All-Star, but has a Cy Young next to his name. Runs will be at a premium as the Indians look for their third home series win of the season next on Sports Time Ohio. Another gray day in downtown Cleveland, but what a pitching matchup we have. Our last game before the All-Star break. Two tremendous pitchers will square off as the Indians try to take 2 out of 3 from the Oakland Athletics. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. Why not a great pitching matchup before we go to the All-Star break? Because pitching has really carried the day for the Indians over the last couple of weeks. Corey Kluber and Sonny Gray. It doesn't get much better than that.
Well, you know Corey Kluber wants to end the first half on a very positive note because he's 3-4 at home this year, and he hasn't beaten the Oakland A's. He's 0-3 in his career, 0-1 last year, so he has something to go out there and prove. But he has pitched very well again this year. It's been lack of run support that has hurt Corey Kluber on the season. He's 4-9. You can see his 2.82 ERA at home, but he's going to be matched up against a tough right-hander, the first-time All-Star Sonny Gray, who is 9-3, leads the league in ERA. He is 6-1 on the road, and last year he had a no decision against the Indians, 1-0 in his career, but he's got a tremendous curveball. He mixes in the fastball. He's not a very big guy, but a very powerful guy. So we are going to see a very good pitching matchup today.
Carlos Santana starting to swing the bat much better for the Cleveland Indians. I don't know that you can necessarily say it was one at bat, but boy, ever since he hit that triple the other night, it looks like he's really locked in at the plate.
When you watch Santana start to swing now, you see him using the middle of the field much more than he has in the past. He's been trying to pull a lot of pitches, but a lot of his hits in that 9 for 20 have come up the middle. Now, in turn, when they throw you a breaking ball like that, it speeds up your bat. He had a big 2-run homer last night to get him within 1. They couldn't go any farther than that, but it's nice to see Santana swing the bat because if the Indians are going to win, he has to drive in runs.
Definitely need some production from the middle of the order. So it's the Indians and the Oakland A's as we put the final ribbon on the game before we go to the All-Star break. When we come back, speaking of the All-Star break, Jason Kipnis will be headed to the Midsummer Classic. Andre Knott joins us with more on that. Cleveland Indians baseball is brought to you by W.B. Mason, the official office supplier of the Cleveland Indians. By McDonald's on Lovenet. By your local Toyota dealers. Visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. And by the injury lawyers at Elk & Elk, proud sponsors of the Cleveland Indians. Call 1-800-ELK, Ohio. Swing and a miss. He blew it by him. He got him. He struck him out with some high heat. Corey Kluber ready to fire away at the Oakland A's here this afternoon in the series finale as we get ready to wrap it up and head to the All-Star break. In the meantime, we got a ball game here today. And for the Indians, Jason Kipnis will be headed to the All-Star game after today's game. With more on that, let's go downstairs to Andre Knott.
Yes, Jason Kipnis will head to Cincinnati after today's ball game. He gets to DH today as they kind of ease him into the All-Star break because they know he'll be busy. Two of the main things that his teammates have been all over him about going to the All-Star game. First, Ken Griffey Jr. will be at the game, a big player that Kipnis was into growing up. So he had to buy a jersey online the last couple of days because he wants Ken Griffey Jr. to sign it. The other thing, the shoe company that Kipnis wears, when you become a two-time All-Star or a two-time Gold Glove Award winner, you get to make your own shoes. So when this happened, Mike Aviles basically went to him and said, hey, glad you're becoming an All-Star. But what's really important is you wear the same shoe sizes I wear, and I need you to get some shoes for me. So now basically they're trying to get him to do it. Now Michael Bourne, who is a two-time All-Star as well as a two-time award winner as well, already has his own shoes. And he basically told him, Kip, you can't have what I have. You got to make your own shoes. These are the things these guys mess with him about. They don't say, hey, go get a hit. They say, go bring us our shoes back when you get back here next week.
Why not, man? Go have fun and enjoy it. That's all there is to it. And a couple of years ago, he did have a big hit in the All-Star game. So good luck, and we hope he does it again this year.
In the meantime, Corey Kluber will start today's ballgame. Hard to believe he hasn't been to an All-Star game. That, a year ago he didn't get tabbed, and he won the Cy Young Award win.
Yeah.
And, coming off the Cy Young Award, hasn't had the wins this year. But other than that, he's right up there in terms of statistics with the rest of the best in the American League.
When you watch him pitch every day, like we have all year long, it's amazing. If he had any kind of luck, if he was getting the run support that Carrasco or Salazar was getting, he'd be having the same type of year he had last year. Unfortunately, he's not getting that. It hasn't changed his personality, his demeanor. He goes out there, he's going to strike a lot of guys out. He doesn't give up many hits, and he's going to keep his team in the ball game, and that's all you can do.
Kluber takes the mound, and let's take a look at the lineup for Bob Melvin's Oakland Athletics that he will face here today. Billy Burns in the leadoff spot once again. Stephen Vogt bats second. He's the all-star rep for Oakland. Ben Zobrist will bat third. Josh Reddick, third among American League outfielders in runs batted in, will hit cleanup. Then it's Ike Davis. Brett Lawrie hitting sixth. Eric Sogard bats seventh. Marcus Semien eighth. And Sam Fuld gets his first start in the series, batting ninth.
And today's Northern Ohio Honda starting pitcher is Corey Kluber. Kluber making his 19th start of the year. His record is 4-9, a 3.45 ERA. But, don't let that fool you. He has 148 strikeouts and 125 in the third innings. One thing, he was 0-1 against Oakland last year, 0-3 in his career. He's looking to get his first win against them. But as we've witnessed this year, when Corey Kluber's on the mound, you see a lot of hitters get aggressive. When they do, they can get base hits or they can knock them around. But when he gets to an 0-2 count, he can bury the hitters because this year they're hitting 0-54 when he has an 0-2 count, 6 for 112. So let's see if he can do that. He'll have a lot of strikeouts if he gets to 0-2. We will check out the defense brought to you by Chrysler. It'll be Brantley in left, Bourne in center, Murphy in right. Urshela at third, Lindor at short, Ramirez is at second, Santana at first, Gomes doing the catching.
Chris Siegel calling the balls and strikes. The crew chief, Jeff Nelson, down at first. Laz Diaz at second. Alan Porter down at third. Jeff Nelson was out early before the ballgame talking with Brandon Kahnke, the Indians' head groundskeeper, because there was a lot of rain on the radar and in the forecast. But to this point, so far so good. Temperature going to be right around 80 degrees at game time. A very light breeze will be blowing in, although it might be changing as the day goes on, depending on what these storms do, if in fact they move in at all. Hopefully they stay south.
Yeah, hopefully. They've, we've been pretty fortunate this year, having had a rain out, and a lot of times it has missed us. Last thing anybody wants here, especially players, is a rain delay, because a lot of them are leaving, going across the country to enjoy their 2 or 3 days off.
Now Corey Kluber ready to go as Billy Burns stands in for Oakland. Indians come in 42 and 45. 1 percentage point ahead of Chicago. Currently 4th place in the American League Central Division, 10 games back of front-running Kansas City. We're underway as Burns slaps it foul. Oakland, 10 games under 500 at 40 and 50 on the year. 9 games back of front-running Houston in the AL West. Kluber's 0-1 pitch. Upstairs with it. Corey will try to shake off the first inning woes that has plagued the ball club on many occasions, especially here at home. They've been outscored 32-14 in the first inning at home this year. As Burns swings and misses, and the count is 1-2. Oakland has scored a run in the first inning in each of the first 2 games of this series. Up and away with it. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Another foul ball out of play. This will be the first time that Oakland goes into the All-Star break with a losing record since 2009. That was also the last time the A's were in last place at the break, which they will be going into this All-Star.
Been a hard team to read this year. We talked about it the last couple of days as far as the numbers and how they shake out compared to their, run differential. They've outscored their opponents by 40 runs, and there's number 1 pitching in the league. And they're still 10 games under 500. Just tough to figure out when you just look at the numbers on the surface.
It's been over 40 years since the Oakland team had 11 shutouts before the All-Star break, and that's what they have going into this year's break. 2-2, outside a full count. Eighth pitch of the at-bat to start the game. And a slap foul again by Burns. A lot of foul balls over that way.
Yeah, he's just trying to stay on the ball and do everything he can. You protect for that good slider or that cutter that he has. He didn't really have a good cutter in his last start against Houston. But he worked that slider in pretty well with more tilt. And we'll see if he has that hard cutter today. Usually takes Corey a little while to settle in.
Fastball by Kluber. But at second base, Jose Ramirez there to make the play, 1 down. Keys to the game brought to you by Wayside Furniture. Defense behind Corey Kluber, always important. And let's see if the Indians can execute small ball against Sonny Gray, because he doesn't give up many hits, let alone base runners. So when you get an opportunity, you have to be able to execute.
Yeah, I think you approach this game, well, Kluber knows you go up there and you try and throw zeros on the board until your offense can score. And you're going up against a tough customer in Sonny Gray, so you don't want them to get the lead early like they did in the first couple of games of this series.
Fly ball hit to right field. Back is Murphy. On the track. He's at the wall. Leaps up, makes the catch! Oh, David Murphy steals one from Stephen Vogt. And there are 2 down in the first.
Well timed. I thought that ball hit off the top of the wall. I didn't see it come down, and now I know why. This is going to be our McDonald's. I'm loving it. What a well-timed jump by David Murphy. That ball was hit high enough. The crowd got a look at it. He gets over the yellow line. It stays in the glove and takes a run away, a home run away from Stephen Vogt. And it saves a run for Corey Kluber. Well done.
For some reason, Jeff Nelson is going to go and ask the replay officials to take a look at it. Not sure what he didn't see. But it was clearly a catch by David Murphy, who went over the yellow line and stole one away from Vogt.
What are they thinking? It hit the
the cement after he went over there?
Rick, I didn't see if it was a case where Bob Melvin asked him to take a look or if he just wasn't sure himself. I'm assuming it was Melvin who asked. I mean, Murphy wasn't even around the bases, and Nelson was running back towards home plate, motioning for the replay headgear to come out. But it was a terrific play by David Murphy, who timed it perfectly.
Yeah, he really did. That ball was hit high enough, and it almost came straight down like a parachute. It was hit high, and he was looking back, but he came back and I've never seen that before. A crew chief review on the home run there. They just, like you said, you saw him running in. Murphy came in, caught the ball clearly. So, nice play by David Murphy.
What are you looking at? What do you mean? What are you looking at? Kidding me? It's a catch all the way. 2 down. Up comes Ben Zobrist. And a strike over the outside corner. One ball and 2 strikes, the count on Zobrist. The switch hitting DH awaits the pitch. Here it comes. It's inside, 2-2. Zobrist having a good series. He's 3 for 7 with a double. Even with those numbers, last 8 games, he's batted just .200. But again, this is also part of, this isn't a knock against Ben Zobrist, but when you don't have a legitimate cleanup hitter and you start to move people into that spot where they're not necessarily going to be at their optimal,
comfortable, yeah,
then you end up kind of where Ben Zobrist is at numbers wise. The 2-2. High foul pop down over near the seats. Urshela makes the catch, slams into the wall, holds on. And is he okay? He appears to be just fine. Nice play by Urshela, who risked life and limb going into the seats to make a fine catch to end the first. A's do not score. Indians coming to bat. Indians ready to take their cuts against Sonny Gray. Tribe starting lineup brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Jason Kipnis will DH and lead it off. Francisco Lindor batting second, has 7 hits on the homestand. Michael Brantley will bat third. Then it's David Murphy, Carlos Santana, and Yan Gomes. Giovanni Urshela, Michael Bourne, and Jose Ramirez round it out.
And today's Northern Ohio Honda starting pitcher, Sonny Gray. And Sonny's having a nice year, making his 18th start. 9-3, league-leading 2.20 ERA, 114 2/3. He has only given up 87 hits, and you can see the opponent's batting average just 207, 6-1 on the road. He's 1-0 in 2 starts against the Indians in his career. And here you'll see the earned run average in the leader. He's beating Dallas Keuchel by a small margin.
First pitch is up and away, ball 1. Right at the second baseman, Sogard, who backs up onto the grass to throw out Kipnis, 1 down.
Let's set the A's defense, brought to you by Chrysler. Behind Gray, it looks like this. Fold is in left field, Burns in center, Riddick over in right, Lowry at third, Semien at short, Sogard at second, Davis is at first, Vogt behind the plate. You know, we showed you the ERA leaders, and Sonny Gray, the only right-hander in the top 5. All the rest are left-handers.
Francisco Lindor takes a look. It's down low.
Another pitcher with an abbreviated windup, sort of like a David Price. He has just a little bigger of a step than David, not much.
Sonny Douglas Gray from a small town just outside of Nashville, Smyrna, Tennessee. Foul back. He was originally drafted by the Cubs coming out of high school, but did not sign. He went to Vanderbilt. He left the Commodores second on the school's all-time win list, 4th in strikeouts. Have they produced some pitching or what?
Yeah, no kidding. There's
Ground
his
ball.
pitch, that curveball.
And Lindor retired, 2 down. Our player profile brought to you by Levin Furniture. Vanderbilt went to their first ever College World Series behind Sonny Gray, who went 12-4 with a 2.43 ERA back in 2011. Pitched for the USA national team. He was Baseball America's Summer Player of the Year. Michael Brantley shoots one foul. When he came up in 2013, Sonny Gray only pitched in 12 games, 10 starts that year, but went into the postseason. And in those 2 games had a 2.08 ERA, 13 innings pitched, gave up just 3 earned runs. Lifted to left field, Fold on the move, near the line, and makes the catch up against the railing. And it's a quick 1-2-3 first. No score after 1. No score, second inning. For Oakland, Josh Reddick, Ike Davis, and Brett Lawrie do up. Reddick with 49 runs batted in when he's in the outfield, third in the American League in that category. Swing and a miss. Got a piece of it. 0-2. Just hard getting used to him without that giant beard. Remember before he had that huge ZZ Top-like beard.
Like Jason Worth.
Mm-hmm. Hits it in the hole and a base knock for Reddick.
Well, he always likes to hit in this ballpark for whatever reason.
AT&T U-verse rewind. First inning, Trout playing some good defense. Murphy goes to the wall, steals a homer away from Vogt. And then to end the inning, it was Giovanni Urshela who went into the crowd to secure the final out. Now Ike Davis coming up. Pulls it foul. Checks on a ball that's in the dirt. 1-1 to count. Good pitch, finds his zone, and he jumps ahead of Ike Davis 1-2. Back to even, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Double play ball to short. Lindor will flip it to Ramirez on to first. A double play.
Tailor-made right there. Got him to hit it right into the middle part of the field, and there it is for Lindor to Ramirez. Over to Santana, an easy double play.
Brett Lawrie coming up now with 2 down. High pop out of play. Rick, from a defensive standpoint, from what we've seen so far, Jose Ramirez could be a terrific guy to fill a utility role. It's just offensively, does he have enough experience to be able to play in that limited role?
That's a hard call. Right now he's here because Mike Aviles, is on that list. But I think with work, why couldn't he? But you're right. You have to supply some offense if you're going to play second, short, possibly third in that role. There's a lot of work ahead. Maybe spot out in the outfield. He can run.
Yeah.
He's quick.
1-2 chop to third. Giovanni Urshela fires it across, and the inning is over. Tribe turns a pair behind Corey Kluber. Defense sparkling thus far. No score, middle of the second.
Along with the MLB.com at-bat on your smartphone or tablet. Stay connected with live radio broadcast stats, breaking news, and more. Download MLB.com at-bat, the #1 app for live baseball.
David Murphy leading it off for the Tribe here. Drives one down the left field line, but foul into the corner.
Slicing down into that corner. Couldn't have missed, but about 5 or 6 feet. Stayed in play. I think the Indians' approach is going to be pretty much the same as the approach against Kluber. You can get aggressive with Sonny Gray because he can put you away. He can strike you out. Once he gets ahead of you, look for that first fastball. His curveball could be devastating.
Swung on and missed.
There it was. Watch it goes. It's like a 12-6 straight down. Looks like a strike. Looks like a strike. By the time it arrives in the hitting area, it disappears. And then the minute you start sitting on it or looking for it, boom, 94 is in on you before you know it.
Swing and a miss. He tied him up.
That was a great pitch. Fastball in.
First strikeout for Gray, 1 down. Let's go down to Andre.
You know, Rick was just talking about that curveball from Sonny Gray, and talking to some of the hitters, they said they do have to be aggressive against him because he can throw that curveball 3 different ways. He can throw it in the top half of the strike zone, he can have it wipe out to the bottom of the strike zone, or he can throw it into the dirt. And they said, and really, it's a hard pitch to pick up from him because he hides it well, and it comes out of his hand almost late, and then it drops on you. So they said they've got to hit him early and be aggressive because you can't let that curveball dictate how the game goes.
Yeah, it's true. When somebody has wipeout stuff like that, or a pitch he can go to at any time, you have to go early. You know, Sonny Gray, not a big guy. He's only 5'11". So, you know, that's probably why it's tough to pick up that curveball. And next thing you know, it's got great rotation.
Now the 2-0. Broken bat, bouncer to first base, and Davis with the flip, 2 down. Injury report brought to you by the injury lawyers at Elk & Elk. D. Gordon told you dislocated left thumb. I don't know how that's going to be day to day. Eventually they're going to probably put him on the DL. Clay Buchholz, Denard Span, Jason Grilli with an Achilles blow is out for the year. I don't know how you could dislocate a thumb, even if they pop it back into place and you don't go on the DL.
I don't know.
How's he going to hold a bat?
Hit one-handed. I don't know. You're right.
Wow. More power to him. Yan Gomes takes 2-0. Now the 2-1 pitch to Gomes. Sends one high in the air. Shallow right field. Out goes Davis. Sogard's there. And he makes the catch. The second baseman pulls it in. The Indians go in order, and we are scoreless through 2.
Dogs, $2 beer pregame. Fireworks presented by Wayside on Friday, July 24th. The Indians will host the Chicago White Sox. Head to Indians.com for your tickets.
Bottom third of the Oakland order coming up here. Eric Sogard will lead it off. There's a fly ball to center field, and Michael Bourne right there to grab it. One away. Our stat of the game brought to you by Buick. Corey Kluber, season comparison from a year ago. Biggest difference is the wins.
Less walks, more strikeouts. The run support, look at that, 485 to 244 makes a difference. Makes a world of difference.
Well, because I do wonder, I mean, the difference in ERA, do you suppose that if you've got more run support, maybe in the back of your mind you're not trying to be quite as perfect? And
I don't know. Not being a pitcher, I don't know what they do when they're on the mound, when you're pitching in close games every time out.
I mean, the old line of pitching is, well, I don't pitch against the other pitcher, I pitch against the lineup, so my job is just to get the hitters out. But if you go out there and you see, oh, it's 6-0, okay.
Well, you have to have runs to win. You got to score, that's all. How many times have the Indians been shut out or one run when he's been on the mound?
Sam Fuld. Talk about an up and down kind of year for this guy. He had a 33-game stretch where he went 7 for 76. That'll test your confidence. But then, since then, his last 25 games, he's batted .289. I guess you get to that point where the only way to go is butt up.
Yeah, you just forget about everything, quit worrying about it, and you have to, if you want to stay at the big league level, you have to come out of it. And you have to produce.
A little bit low. 1-2. Kluber into the wide. He deals. And Fuld a chopper towards second base. Ramirez scoops it, throws him out. And on 7 pitches, the A's are retired 1-2-3. Scoreless, middle of the third. Stay tuned later in the game for Miller Time, brought to you by Miller Lite. Hope you're enjoying your Sunday afternoon. If you're done with yard work, maybe enjoying a cold one this afternoon, watching the Tribe and the A's wrap up their final game before the All-Star break. No score, bottom of the third. Giovanni Urshela to lead it off. The routine bouncer to Marcus Semien, who throws out Urshela one down.
Boy, they're getting it after quickly. Sonny Gray has 7 outs on 21 pitches, so they are being aggressive.
But you pointed out that you almost have to be that way. You don't want this guy to get to his secondary pitches.
That's right. No, I have no problem with it.
Michael Bourne trying to snap out of an 0 for 13 slump. Off of his foot, yow. See if this was a shin burner or off the toe. Oh, instep, huh?
Oh, it sure looks like it, right off the front foot. Ankle maybe, right ankle.
Now the 1-2. Breaking ball, and he's able to lay off. No chase, 2-2. Indians' offense has been a slow starter on the homestand. First 5 innings, they've scored just 6 runs, batting at a .223 clip. From inning 6 on, though, 16 runs scored, .288 team average. Bourne down on strikes, 2 away. Now, you can look at that a couple of ways. The way I look at it is bullpen. You get to the bullpen, and you get a better opportunity, especially when you're facing the Oakland A's, whose starters are dominant, but their bullpen, a little shaky.
Right.
And Houston, I don't know, Rick, their bullpen, there are some good elements to it, but it's not a strong bullpen, I don't think, for the Astros.
No, it's not. I mean, sometimes it's hard to explain how you score. You get momentum rolling, and you just sometimes innings just unfold where you get the right bounces, things go your way, and good things happen.
I just know I talked to Jason Kipnis one time. It used to be the adage was get the starter out of there, get in the bullpen. He told me nowadays you better get the starter because these bullpen guys are coming out, most of them 95, 96, wicked slider, wicked split, something. You're not going to usually score a lot of runs against bullpens nowadays.
Well, no, because a lot of teams have good bullpens. The Indians' MO is try and score early. When they score early, they seem to play a little more relaxed. As the game goes on and you get runners on base, you see it seems like they tighten up a little bit more. And that's been, their MO. A lot of times they're playing from behind in their home ballpark, and it's been tough for them this year.
Bounce to the second baseman. Indians are out 1-2-3, 3 complete. No score in Cleveland. Well, we go to the fourth inning and both starters dominating. This is the matchup we anticipated, and this is what we're getting.
How's that for a matchup? Kluber 35 pitches, Gray 30, only one hit in the ball game. Both teams' approach very much the same. Out of the 18 outs from both pitchers, 11 ground ball outs.
Billy Burns had a good at bat his first time up, but it resulted in a ground ball out to second base. I think it was 8, if not 9 pitches that first time up for Burns. Strike called. He tried to persuade the umpire by jumping back, but it was on the inside corner.
Is that one of the comeback fastballs?
Sure was. Yeah.
That's where Kluber, when he's on his game to left-handers, it can make it impossible because he can throw that pitch that comes back over the inside corner, or he has the hard cutter that starts on the inside and they start swinging and the ball buries them inside and they have no chance of hitting it.
Or occasionally we'll see the backdoor cutter.
Yeah.
They just give up on it.
That's, yes. Just one more weapon he has.
That was a weird square by Burns with 2 strikes. I'm not sure.
Is he thinking of maybe putting it down? I don't know.
Yeah, I suppose. Last 5 games, including today. Burns 4 for 24. 1 out of 10 against Indians pitching. The 2-2. Up and away, full count.
So, second time he's been up there and worked Kluber to a full count, so he's getting his money's worth anyway. As much as you can, as far as pitches goes.
And it's low, ball 4. Kluber's walked his first. Oakland gets their leadoff man aboard for the second time today. So the last 3 Indians that have won the Cy Young Award, CC Sabathia, Cliff Lee, Gaylord Perry, following year at the All-Star break, it's kind of where they were. None of them have.
You know, you look CC at the 500 mark, and that's it.
Nice pick by Gomes.
You know, you think about that and you look at numbers. You know, it's first of all, it's tough to win a Cy Young Award. Well, when you do, the expectations the next year become so great, and it's tough to have things go your way 2 years in a row. You know, when you're a baseball player, whether you're a pitcher or an everyday player.
That is clobbered. Murphy back to the wall. This time, no leap, no catch.
Both saying I may have to hit it a little bit farther than I did the first time. No siree.
In the yard. A 2-run homer for Vogt. Oakland leads it 2-zip. Vogt's 14th home run of the year.
He's had 2 good swings off Corey Kluber. This time, he hits his 14th home run, 2-run job, and Oakland has a 2-0 lead. Let's watch this pitch. They wanted it away, and what happened? He missed his target. You see where Gomes was sitting? Out. He's got to reach all the way back across the plate on the inside part, and he hammered it. Well, he got the barrel head of the bat out in front. Kluber's 10th home run allowed.
And it's the leadoff walk that makes it worse for Corey. A 2 spot for the A's, and now Ben Zobrist takes a strike.
Watch how he has to reach back to the inside part. He's sitting away with a heater. That comes inside, so he missed it by probably 2 feet. Sitting on the outside part of the plate, 17 inches across, and it was inside.
And there's one of those examples, too, where, in some of the lore of baseball about stealing signs and guys in the outfield relaying signals where the pitch is coming. If you see it set up away and you're looking away and the ball comes in.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That's true. You still have to react. It doesn't matter if you know what's coming or not. You still have to hit it. It may make it a little easier in your own mind that you know what pitch is there or whatever is happening, but you still have to execute. Put a good swing on the ball, and right there, Vogt certainly did.
But we've seen a number of occasions where a pitcher misses his location by that much, and it doesn't hurt him.
Gets a swing and a miss.
Yeah.
Happened last night a couple times, if you remember.
Vogt and Sonny Gray will be going to the All-Star game for Oakland.
If there's anything about Corey Kluber that I see this year compared to last year that is not happening, is when he gets into situations. Last year he used to get out of it if he's got a man on base or something. He'll give up a hit this year, occasionally. It's his first strikeout after that homer.
Josh Reddick, base hit his first time up. All the way to the backstop on the pitch inside. And it's 1-1. Don't think there wasn't maybe at least a little bit of purpose to that pitch. Remember, Reddick last time went out, reached out, and just punched one through the.
That was on an 0-2 pitch as well.
Yeah. Trying to make him think about the inside part of the plate as well. Off-speed pitch, and he rolls over.
There you go. Get him to pull.
2 down.
Well, the Indians will honor former All-Star Larry Doby on Saturday, July 25th, when the Indians will play the White Sox, and the new Larry Doby statue will be unveiled outside the right field gate. That's joining Bob Feller and Jim Thome statues. That's great. Long overdue for Larry Doby. Visit Indians.com.
Looking forward to that. Larry's number 14 was retired, I believe it was right after the ballpark opened.
Well, and Larry also managed the White Sox. So they will be in town.
Just fouled on the right field line. Yep, July 3rd, 1994. What was the date Doby's number retired here at Progressive Field? It was the exact date 47 years after he debuted for the Indians. Fouled right back. Mike Davis hit into a double play that ended, or that short-circuited a potential rally in the second inning after Reddick reached with that infield or opposite field single. But here in the fourth, Oakland on the board first. 2-run homer by Stephen Vogt. And now with 2 down, the 2-2 pitch to Davis is low, a full count.
There's that backdoor slider, breaking ball you were talking about. He just happened to miss with that one.
Got him.
He didn't miss with that one.
Painted the outside corner to end the inning. Couple of strikeouts for Kluber, but a 2-run homer by Stephen Vogt. And Oakland leads it 2-0, middle of the fourth. Time now to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use the hashtag STODataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming telecast brought to you by T-Mobile. Jason Kipnis leading it off for Cleveland. Sonny Gray, 9 up, 9 down, first time through the order. Now that pitch up and away, ball 1. Did not go. 2-0. Kipnis batting .381 here at Progressive Field this year. Most hits before the All-Star break. Kenny Lofton. How about Albert Bell, both in 1994? Not too shabby.
Yeah. That's racking them up.
But Kipnis only one behind the pace of Michael Brantley from a year ago. Brantley due up third this inning. 2-1 pitch to Kipnis. Smack fouled on the left side.
We want to send along our thank yous and congratulations to Frank Bochenek. Tomorrow marks the 71-year anniversary. He landed on the beaches of Normandy after the D-Day invasion. He was part of Patton's army in the Combat Engineers 133rd. So, Frank, have a great day. Congratulations and thank you.
Thanks for the peppers.
You bet.
Kipnis smacks one at first, but Davis is there to grab it. And there is one down here in the fourth. Rick, I don't know if you've heard, but baseball's Midsummer Classic will be taking place on Tuesday. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern on Fox, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Home field advantage for the World Series will be on the line. Jason Kipnis will represent the Tribe Sonny Gray and Stephen Vogt, the Oakland battery, will be in Cincinnati as well. Always a great occasion and a terrific tradition. Now the raindrops falling.
Yeah, guess what? It's starting to sprinkle.
You can hear them.
Well, you know, you could always tell because over in the press box they start closing the windows.
That's because they'll melt. Francisco Lindor grounded out his only time up in the first. Sails high, 2-0.
We want to send along our happy birthday wish to Gerald Pohl, turning 70 today.
Yeah.
Big Indians fan, watches at home on television out in Dayton, Ohio. So, Gerald, happy birthday, buddy.
He's got 2 TVs. He watches the Reds on a small TV, the Indians on a big TV.
I hope that's true.
You think, Gerald, he sends a letter to Cincinnati and says just the opposite?
And Chris Welsh said, well, Gerald, thank you very much. He watches us on the big screen and the Tribe on the little.
Happy birthday, Gerald. Whatever screen you watch us on, as long as it's one of them.
That's exactly right. It doesn't matter. He's a baseball fan. And we will be down in Cincinnati after the break.
Right back up the middle, and it's through, and the Indians have their first hit of the game. A one-out single by Lindor. Not surprising. He's been swinging it much better. 8 for 27 on the homestand.
Well, you find a hole. He stays right on it. He hits the fastball away and just gets enough of it over the head of Sonny Gray and plays perfectly into center field. First hit for the Tribe. Comes with one out here in the fourth.
Michael Brantley fouled out his only time up. Brantley with a 5-game hitting streak. 8 out of his last 20 at the dish. Kia in the driver's seat. Brantley has an RBI in 38 games this year. Why does that say 38?
No. He trails only Goldschmidt in the National League, who has 40.
.46 in all for Dr. Smooth. Fifth home run of the year came earlier on the homestand. Left field, slicing foul. Now the 1-2 pitch to Brantley. Swinging a ground ball to second base. To Semien for one on the first, and inning-ending double play. 4 complete. It's Oakland 2, Cleveland nothing. by the Cleveland Clinic. Call for an appointment today. And by the game-changing all-new Ford F-150. The future is tough. 2-0. Oakland leads it as we head to the 5th inning here in Cleveland. Brett Laurie, Eric Sogard, Marcus Semien due up for the A's. A 2-run homer by Stephen Vogt in the 4th, the only runs in the ballgame.
You know, we were talking about Kluber and the numbers of the Cy Young afterwards. You know, we would go back. Tommy gives me a number of our, when Kluber started this year, 4 times they have scored no runs. 2 times they have scored 1 run when he's been on the mound. So there's 6 starts right there. It's pretty tough to win on.
Popped him up. Lindor calls for it. And the shortstop makes the catch 1 away. Our great clip of the game from last night, courtesy of Carlos Carrasco, who went 7. Gave up 2 runs on 6 hits, walked 1, struck out 7 in 103 pitches. And what did he get for that? A no decision. His first of the year, snapping a string of 22 straight starts with at least a win or a loss for Carrasco. Pitch outside. You could look at that a couple of ways and say, well, it's a shame they couldn't have scored for him and got him a win. They did score him runs to at least take him off the hook.
Yeah. Well, it's a close ball game. You know, you're usually going to get low-scoring games with Oakland. We had them with Houston. We usually do. Well, it's all a matter of when and how many. But that's a pretty nice string when you go back for all those decisions. He's out there for one or the other. That means you're going pretty deep into the ball game.
Yeah.
I think Gaylord Perry had the longer streak. Got to go back to 73 or 74.
Was that the one we just showed? Maybe the year after he won the Cy Young. It was 8-14 at the All-Star break. It's 22 decisions at the All-Star break.
Well, they used to pitch every 4th day.
Base hit into center field by Eric Sogard. That's true. You had the 4-man rotations.
Yeah, 4-man. You can see it gets a fastball away and just stayed on it. That's your job. Try and hit a line drive, and he does the other way. Nice short stroke. Gets the fastball and stayed on it. Yeah, where guys are making 32, maybe 33 starts, those guys used to make 39, 40 starts a year.
Murph said he was 19-19 for the season.
There's 38
right there. That's wow.
I'll bet not many no decisions either, if any. There was 3 so 41 starts.
Yeah. Well, they put you in jail if you put a starter out there 41 times.
Well, when those guys got locked into it, too, and a manager came out and they were thinking of taking him out to go to the bullpen, those guys wouldn't let him take him out. I'm not coming out of here. Because you know why? They felt that if you go to the bullpen, I'm better out here than the bullpen is with me, and that's just the way the game was back then. You know, and you had to fight those guys to get them out.
And it's probably not an exaggeration to say if you took a pitcher like a Gaylord Perry out of a game, you might have to go to fisticuffs afterwards with him.
Oh, yeah, there's no well, yes. We witnessed it a couple of times. Not for that very reason, but for a lot of, different reasons. Yeah, there used to be a lot of
orneriness
in the family. Yes, you'd have a lot of fights with your brothers. Going back and forth, wrestling matches or something going on until you broke it up.
You didn't have to worry about everything being reported on Twitter.
That's true.
Back then either.
I mean, you kept it in-house and you cleaned it up.
Off the glove of Gomes, and down in the scoring position goes Sogard.
That was a little nonchalant there by Yan Gomes. I want to see if that ball bounced or what. He went to the backhanded side. Don't know if that's a. Let me take a look at it here. Yeah, that's just a little nonchalant. Goes after the ball. I would assume it's a pass ball. Well, we'll get a score on that. Well, in any case, it allows Sogard to get it second base. It is a pass ball.
Semien takes a strike. Now the 3-1 to Semien. Chopped to short. This would have been a double play ball. Lindor goes to third. Do they get the lead runner? Yes, they do. Sogard cut down. Lindor went to Urshela to apply the tag. Sogard thought he might have beaten the play.
Well, they'll wait and get a look at it on their video. It was close. He got a hand in there. But from where we're sitting back here, it was really hard to tell. The ball beats him, but I don't know if that hand comes in before Urshela can tag him. He was called out.
And Bob Melvin says no thank you.
Okay, so he will go down and he sees he's tagged, so it's not going to work out. So that pass ball comes back and is erased on that base running mistake by Sogard.
Got him right on the shoulder before the hand got in there. So 2 down. And Sam Fuld, the batter. By the way, we were talking about the 22 straight starts for Carrasco with a decision. Gaylord went 51 in a row with a decision.
Yeah, over 2 years, huh? He had, 40 starts 1 year and
40
had
for
a
40.
Yeah.
And then the first 11 of the following season.
Incredible. So Carrasco is about halfway there, which is still a really nice run at it.
I mean, you can't compare. Different time, different era, like you said.
Right. You don't compare that generations as, you're talking 50 years ago. But the amazing thing now, to me, that's like you stay out there long enough to get a decision, to get the wins, or, you don't get it, you get a loss. A lot of times guys go 5 and fly, and you have a chance for a win, and they come back and the other team scores. You get a no decision right off the get-go. Not an easy thing to do. Quintana in Chicago, isn't he the?
He's the king of the
no decision. He's the king of the ND. What do you have? 17 1 year.
Popped up out of play. Rain continuing to fall. Looked like it had just about diminished and gone away, but it's back to just a slow drizzle.
That's fine. Stays like that. About a week or so ago, we played through it for the most part on a Friday night in Pittsburgh.
My.
It was raining a lot harder. Just enough to cool you off.
2-strike pitch. Got him looking. Fuld is rung up. Third strikeout for Corey Kluber. We go to the bottom of the 5th. A's 2, Indians nothing. 2-0 Oakland, bottom of the fifth. 4, 5, and 6 spots due up for Cleveland. Murphy looks, it's low, ball 1. Upstairs. How do you like that? 3 balls, no strikes. Finds the strike zone. Sonny Gray doesn't give up many base runners. He's only walked 29. He's allowed just 88 hits now on the year and 100 and almost 19 innings of work. Call to strike.
Yeah, Murphy taking all the way. Why not? Make him work. He hasn't thrown many pitches to this point. You get a 3-0 count. Leading off the inning. You can see. Doesn't give up many hits or many walks. So you get opportunities. You have to take advantage of them. He's only given up 5 home runs on the year. So he keeps it in the ballpark. He doesn't give up many hits or many walks. You got your work cut out for you. When you get hits, you hope you get a couple of extra base hits.
Murphy sends one down the line, foul, out of play. Ball 4, he walked him, and the Indians get their leadoff man aboard. Send it out to Andre Knott, who's chilling in the district.
Thanks, guys. Got to tell you, one of the highlights of the first half here at Progressive Field has definitely been the district and the corner here at Carnegie in Ontario. If you're the older generation, great food, great drinks out here. A different way to enjoy the game. If you have the kids with you, the kids' clubhouse is a dandy. If you remember the first game of the season, I went down the slide. So if you're coming out in the second half, make sure you make a chance to come out to the district, check out some of the great food, some of the great places out here, and it's a great atmosphere to watch a ball game. Matter of fact, I think I'll stay out here. See you two in the second half.
What did he mean by that, the older generation? If you're the older generation.
I guess maybe 21 and above so you can have an adult beverage.
Oh, okay. Thought he was pointing a finger at us.
I don't think so. If he is, we'll have to have a talk to him.
In the second half.
In the second half. We won't see him again. Thank goodness. He's undercover now somewhere. I think we ought to pitch in and get him a gift for the second half.
What, a hat?
No, an umbrella. An umbrella, a raincoat, or something to wear. Something, that he can put on so he can stay dry. I feel sorry for our friend down there.
Don't they have those umbrella hats?
He is
it's like a hat, but it's an umbrella at the same time.
I don't think he'd look good in it.
Well, if you're going for aesthetics, we're going to be here for a while.
Look at him. We just got to get him something to keep dry. I'm thinking about you, Andre.
Substance over style is what we're looking for here.
There you go. We got to find out what color he likes and what color he looks good in.
Carlos Santana grounded out his only time up back in the second inning. He's in the hole 0-2. He did not go, says Alan Porter down at third. A ball and 2 strikes.
There's that the one he throws in the dirt trying to get you to chase it when he's 0-2. Of course, Santana was able to check, but that's one of the three that he can throw.
Floats one toward left, dropping in a hurry, but Fold runs it down for out number one. He was playing deep, but he was able to charge in to make the grab. That's going to bring up Yan Gomes. You mentioned before, Rick, about Sonny Gray. He's not very big, but that's where in scouting sometimes it's hard to judge what's inside a man.
Absolutely.
And for Sonny Gray, great story about when he was in high school. Very difficult time for him. He's getting ready to quarterback his football team. His father passed away tragically, suddenly. And that night that he passed away at 4 o'clock in the morning, and he told his mom in the hospital, I'm going to play tonight. That's what my dad would have wanted. And she was stunned, couldn't believe that he was going to be able to go out, play a game. Not only did he go out and play a game, but his team rallied around him. They went out and won 28-6. He was a quarterback on that football team. Quarterbacked his team to back-to-back state championships.
Nice.
In Tennessee.
Well, you remember when he first came to the big leagues and Oakland needed a starter when they were in the playoffs against the Tigers and matching up against Verlander. And who do they give the ball to? Sonny Gray.
Mm-hmm.
And he went out toe-to-toe with Verlander, being a rookie. Yeah, they say the makeup and the insides of this guy, he's pretty tough. Pretty tough customer. And that's something that's hard to scout. You know, you figure 5'11". What do they say about a right-handed pitcher? A lot of times they're afraid he'll break down because of the size. But this guy knows.
Off the chest of Laurie. Tries to make the play at first and still got him. Oh, incredible.
You know, that is really staying with the baseball. I mean, I didn't know he still had a chance. I thought he was just going to eat it, but he ends up throwing it and getting Gomes at first base. He wanted to come in, and he wasn't caught. He wasn't going to go back. So he says, all right, he committed early. Well, he didn't field it cleanly, but he stayed with it, and he gets Gomes just by a half a step. He wanted the double play ball. That's why he charged it. That's a pretty good play overall, to stay with that ball, not panic, make a throw, and Gomes couldn't get down the line, and he beats him.
And that wasn't a case where Gomes was not giving it a full effort. He was running hard.
Yeah.
Well, Laurie still able to make a big play, 2 down. Runner in scoring position, though, with Giovanni Urshela at the plate. Now the 1-0. Urshela lifts one. Shallow center. And Sogard out to make the catch. Holds on. And that'll end the inning. 5 complete. 2-0 Oakland.
weekend's British Open and Jordan Spieth's chances to win a third straight major. The Golf Zone's tee off tonight at 8 o'clock on Sports Time Ohio.
Well, the rain looks like it stopped again. Brief peek of the sun. And Billy Burns to lead it off. For the A's, he walked and scored ahead of the homer by Vogt in the fourth. It's the only runs of the game to this point. Back out of play.
And he's had a couple of good at-bats, 3-2 both times. Grounded out to second his first time, but drew a walk to get the fourth started.
One ball, one strike. Yeah, and he finds the outside edge.
This is Burns' third at bat. That's his 20th pitch that he has seen from Corey Kluber. So he's done his job.
Foul left side. He's wore out the left side in foul territory. Nice play. Twins out to an early 2-0 lead over Detroit in the first inning at Target Field. Minnesota playing with a huge amount of confidence right now. And Detroit, got to wonder about their confidence. They got punched in the gut in the series opener on that big walk-off homer by Dozier. Torrey Hunter hit one in the third deck yesterday.
Yeah, they're looking for the break.
2-2. Struck him out looking. Number 4 for Kluber. One down here in the sixth. In-game recap brought to you by your Toyota dealers. Back in the fourth, a walk to Burns and Vogt. Says vote for me. 2-run homer. Only runs of the afternoon, and it was just a pitch that missed his location.
Yes, he did. They were sitting down and away. You see the replay. You see where Gomes' glove had to come back and reach to the inside part of the plate. And it never reached the glove.
Up and away, ball one.
And in his first at-bat, Murphy robbed him of a home run. Went over the yellow line, brought it back. Or he would have 2 today.
Down and in, 2-0. At the knees, outside corner, a perfect pitch. It's 3-1. And now Kluber trying to shoot for that same spot, but he missed down low. 1 on, 1 out. It'll bring up Ben Zobrist.
Well, there you'll see Sheriff Murphy going up and taking it on highway robbery over the yellow line. Timed beautifully.
No, the sheriff can't commit highway robbery.
Oh, yes, he can.
It's a conflict of interest.
Sheriff can do whatever he wants.
So 1 on, 1 out. Zobrist struck out his last time up. Indians have 13 wins against the American League's Western Division this year. Only Kansas City and Boston have as many against the West outside of that division. When you go back to last year, the Indians played the West well. They appeal. He did not go.
Yeah, well, we're going to see them. We haven't faced the Angels yet. After the break, we hit Cincinnati, Milwaukee. We come home, go back into our division. Then our next road trip, we're out to the West Coast, play Oakland for 4, and go down and play the Angels for the first time.
And the 2-0 pitch is hammered right field. Murphy over to cut it off. Zobrist with a long single on his way to third is Vogt. And A's at the corners with 1 out.
Well, you can understand why he wanted to sort of pitch around Vogt, but then he comes back up here and Ben Zobrist gets a big base hit to put runners at the corners. So now Kluber's got his work cut out for him to see if he can keep it a 2-0 ball game.
Josh Reddick will be the batter. Reddick has singled and grounded out today. Just now removing the tarp in the bullpen area, so we'll get some action in the Cleveland bullpen. Josh Reddick takes a ball down low. To Santana. To Lindor for 1. Back to first. A double play ends the inning. Oh, nicely turned. Santana to Lindor and back home to finish off a twin killer. Two 2-0 Oakland as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Michael Bourne, Jose Ramirez, and Jason Kipnis due up for Cleveland. Kansas City has scored 6 runs in the bottom of the 1st against Toronto, and they're still batting. Wow. Kendry Morales with a 3-run homer. That made it 4-0. Usually that kills a rally. They continue to hit and score.
Well, they got a few Royals on that All-Star game, so they're going to be Going right from Toronto into Cincinnati. They may charter their plane, the whole team go down to Cincinnati.
Felix Doubront has given up 6 runs on 6 hits. He hasn't walked a batter in that first inning.
Might want to try that.
Big breaking ball, and it drops over the outside corner. Because Sonny Gray is pitching today, he won't be eligible to pitch now in the World Series.
Or the All-Star
game. The All-Star game. Hector Santiago has been added to the AL squad in his place. And in the National League, Clayton Kershaw has been added finally.
There you go. You asked me last night, what do you think? Well, he's an all-star.
He is now. Bourne couldn't hold up. Chased after it, strikes out. 3rd K for Gray. 1 down here in the 6th.
There's where you look for the curveball, and then you can't catch up to the heater, but you start and you can't hold up because it's a ball. So Michael's gone down twice today.
Jose Ramirez grounded out his only time up. He's quickly in the hole, 0-2. Ramirez went down to AAA, and in 28 games, he hit .349. He scored 18 runs, stole 13 bases. Gray off the mound. 2 down.
Well, 12,500 fans will receive a Larry Doby replica statue, courtesy of KeyBank, next Saturday, or the 25th, we should say. The Indians will host the White Sox. All fans can enjoy pregame fireworks or postgame fireworks presented by Pierre's. At Indians.com for your tickets.
A little bit outside of Kipnis. He's 0 for 2, a couple of ground ball outs. Missed inside that time. Kip has played in all but 1 game this year for the Indians. Over the mound. Big hop for the second baseman, Sogard. Indians go 1-2-3. We'll head to the 7th. It remains Oakland 2, Cleveland nothing. located in all Levin Furniture and freestanding locations. And by AT&T Uverse, has more channels on the go than cable. Two 2-0 Oakland on top as we roll on to the 7th inning. Ike Davis, Brett Laurie, and Eric Sogar due for the Athletics. Breaking ball in there for a strike. Let me ask you, have you ever heard of Kirk Neuenhuis?
Yeah.
Started the year on the Mets bench. Then they designated him for assignment, traded him to the Angels. Then they designated him for assignment. Mets claimed him back off waivers. He's hit 3 home runs today for the Mets.
You're kidding. Has he really?
They're beating the Diamondbacks 5-2. He's hit 2 solo shots and a 2-run homer. How's that for a day?
Nice afternoon. They've been playing the D-backs very tough.
Popped him up. Out goes Lindor. 1 away. Indians defense has been stellar from the get-go. Murphy robbed a vote of a home run in the 1st inning. Urshela went into the crowd to grab a foul ball. Turned a double play in the 2nd. Lindor got the lead runner on that ground ball in the 5th. Another double play here.
Yeah, this is a big one. 3-6-3 to keep the score at 2-0. That was a good pitch by Kluber and a nice turn.
But Sonny Gray has been equal to the task. He has not allowed a run. He's only given up 1 hit. He's walked 1, so the Indians have had 2 base runners. Swung out and missed. A little bit low. 2-1. Popped him up. Out of play. And it's 2-2. The 2-2 is strike 3 called. Kluber with his 5th strikeout of the afternoon, and 4 of the 5 have been looking.
He just went away with a perfect pitch. We'll make this our Circle K strikeout of the day. There it is on the outside edge. Lowry couldn't pull the trigger. He has to look at it, and he's going to go down as a strikeout victim. Number 5.
The 4th inning is when the 2-run homer was hit by Vogt, and he struck out a pair of A's hitters. That's the only inning in which he's made a lot of pitches. By the way, if you're jonesing for baseball, later tonight, good matchup in the National League to wrap up the coverage before the All-Star game. Pirates, Cardinals. Pittsburgh going for 3 straight against St. Louis. If they win, they'll pull within 2 games of St. Louis in the loss column.
Whale of a game last night. 14 innings. Walk off. McCutchen hit a 2-run homer after St. Louis scored. Good ball game.
Minnesota leads Detroit 2-1 in the 2nd now at Target Field. Kansas City 6-0. They're in the 2nd inning over Toronto. Fly ball left field. And Brantley is there to make the catch. The A's go 1-2-3. They lead it 2-0. We've reached the 7th inning stretch, brought to you by Spitzer Auto World. 2-0 Oakland, bottom of the 7th inning coming up. As promised earlier, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. Back in 1995, on this, well, almost a year, almost the exact date, 4 days from now.
Tried to sneak a piece of cheese past the rat, and he wouldn't let it go. He hit it deep into the name.
Don't see many homers hit up there anymore.
No, you do not.
Francisco Lindor trying to spark the Indians here in the 7th. And a foul by the Indians' young shortstop.
I got to try and get Sonny Gray out of here. He's only at 75 pitches. Because he's been on his game today, and it doesn't look like they're going to score against him. Got to get into that bullpen.
Sonny Gray has just, nothing fancy, just nothing barreled up either.
No, well-located fastball. He moves it. He changes eye levels. He changes speeds. He's got a great curveball. And, he had the one double play. After they got the single, he got mad. And that's it. He has one walk.
Missed inside.
He's faced one over the minimum. He's been in total control today.
Big hop. Quick flip. 2 down. Indians' lone hit came on a Francisco Lindor single in the 4th inning. David Murphy struck out in the 2nd. He walked to lead off the 5th inning. He got to second base. That's as close as the Indians have come to scoring a run today. Up and away. Back.
You look at it again, and Corey Kluber pitching in another 2-0 game. They don't get him a run. Now the break comes in. He will be, they set the rotation coming out of the All-Star break. Bauer's coming out game 1. Kluber will be game 2. So he'll finally have a chance to hit in Cincinnati. So he might be able to help his own cause when he gets to Cincinnati and drive in a run.
Murphy, chopper up the first base line, and Sonny Gray takes it himself. 1, 2, 3 go the Indians. He's retired 9 in a row, and we go to the 8th, 2-0 Oakland. retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians. Jason Kitten has got his All-Star Game jersey and a very nice pregame ceremony. He'll be headed to Cincinnati after the ball game to take part in the festivities, the game on Tuesday. And then he can just stay there. Doesn't even have to come back.
You know what? That's nice. You don't have to jump on a plane. He's there. You're right. It may not sound like much, but it is.
Fly ball left field. Brantley makes the catch, and Marcus Semien is retired for out number 1 here in the 8th inning. Sam Fuld 0 for 2. He has grounded out, struck out. And takes a strike. Fouled right back. Oh,
pretty good
wow.
pitch. Did you see Gomes flinch?
A couple of times he tried to hold the glove and get the umpire's attention.
He was going to get up to throw it to third base, but it looked, I guess, a little off.
The 1-2. Swung out and missed. He struck him out, and that's a half dozen Ks for Kluber. 2 down in the inning.
You know, Corey Kluber, you look and it's a 2-0 game, but he's been very good in his own right in this game. These guys are getting after it early. He has 6 strikeouts. He made 1 mistake where Gomes had to reach back for a pitch, and that's the ball game. His 1 home run to Stephen Vogt, and that's it. Again, he's been very good. He's allowed 4 hits in the game, and that's it.
Slap foul down the left side. It's a shame, but as the saying goes for so many years now, there's no crying in baseball. And Corey'd be the first to tell you that. I mean, your team doesn't score for you. Well, that's the break sometimes.
Yeah, hold them, throw, don't give up any runs and play for a tie.
Right back to him. Corey sets, fires the first. And again, the A's are retired in order. Corey has set down 7 in a row. Middle of the 8th, it remains 2-0 Oakland. Indians Live, presented by Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care. It's coming up next here on Sports Time Ohio. Corey Kluber getting the word from Mickey Callaway. His day is over. Terrific job, but once again on the short end of a 2-0 score. We'll see if the Indians offense can do anything about that. They go up against Sonny Gray here, who has made 82 pitches through 7 innings. 5, 6, 7 hitters due up for Cleveland. Carlos Santana 0 for 2 on the day, leads it off, and the pitch is high, ball 1. And that was close, but ball 2. Big swing and a miss, 2-1. Red Sox Yankees tied 3-3 there in the 5th at Fenway. Tampa Bay over Houston 4-3 in the 7th down in St. Pete. Cubs lead the White Sox 2-0. They're in the 3rd at Wrigley.
He's waiting to get into the box. He hurt his back on that swing. Yeah, he's getting in awful slowly. That swing, when you watch the swing, it was a big swing. He hasn't been taking these in the last 3 or 4 games, and he really let this one fly. And watch him at the end. Look at him. There's something in the back or the oblique that hurts.
James Quinlan out to talk with him. Indians head athletic trainer along with Terry Francona. Says he's okay. So a 2-ball, 1-strike count. 3 on the right side of the infield for Oakland. And he hits it right at the second baseman Sogard from the outfield grass. 1 down. Time for a Boston game break. Here's Al Pawlowski.
Hey, Matt, Rick, let's head to New York. Mets taking on the Diamondbacks. The story is Kirk Neuenice didn't have a home run coming into today's game. He has 3 today against the Arizona Diamondbacks. And he's batting right now in the 7th inning, his 4th time up. Meanwhile, Mets up by 2. Matt?
Thanks, Al. Here's Yan Gomes, 0 for 2 on the day. He's popped up, grounded out. Out of play. Only 2 balls have been hit to the outfield by an Indians hitter today. One by Santana that was a shallow fly ball in left field that Fold had to race in to make the catch on. The other was the base hit by Francisco Lindor in the 4th inning. And, of course, Michael Brantley, who hit one into foul territory in the 1st. That's been it. No other ball has reached the outfield today by an Indians hitter.
He's been unbelievable. A lot of ground ball outs. 15 ground ball outs to be exact. 3 punch outs, 4 fly outs.
That is it's about as in command as you can be. And Yan Gomes in the hole, 0-2. That is 11 in a row retired by Sonny Gray, and there are 2 down in the 8th inning. His 4th strikeout of the afternoon.
There's the one he can bounce down around home plate, and he does, and Gomes chases it for his 4th strikeout. All 4 strikeouts have come swinging.
Urshela looks at a ball outside, low and away. Urshela shoots one deep left field. Fold is back. It's over his head and off the wall. Boy, did he play it perfectly, though. And he'll hold Urshela to a long single.
He sure did. You cannot play that ball any better than Sam Fold played that off the wall. And I mean, held him to a single. But at least there was a ball hit to the outfield, hit hard. So Urshela, you check it out. He tried to run the fastball inside. He smokes it to left field off the wall, and watch how he plays it. One hopper right back at him and made a strong one-hop throw.
Now, maybe he was fortunate because Mark Canha made a similar play on the ball, but he got a little bit too close to the wall and couldn't catch the ricochet. Fold put on the brakes just in the nick of time and still had to react quickly to the carom. Brandon Moss going to pinch hit for Michael Bourne. He'll probably stay in the game and play first base if Santana can't continue. Fouls it off. Saw Santana leave with Jeff Desjardins, one of the Indians' trainers, so we'll see if he comes back. Now the 1-1. To center field, but not deep enough. Burns is there. And the inning is over. We'll go to the 9th. Oakland 2, Cleveland nothing. Tire Express and Total Car Care. It's coming up next here on Sports Time Ohio. Our Cleveland Clinic call to the bullpen will be for left-hander Kyle Crockett. He'll come on in relief of Corey Kluber, who went 8, gave up 2 runs on 4 hits, struck out a half dozen. Crockett, just his 6th appearance of the year. He'll be facing the 2, 3, and 4 hitters for the A's.
Yeah, lefty switch and a lefty.
New outfield for the Indians. David Murphy is now the left fielder. Michael Brantley goes to center field. And Brandon Moss, who pinch hit for Bourne, takes over in right field. Carlos Santana was the last player out of the dugout, but he does come back in to play at first base. But obviously that back needed a little attention. The good news for him is he'll have 4 days to let it rest, let it heal. Stephen Vogt, his 2-run homer in the 4th, the only runs in this game. Last time up, it looked like Corey Kluber worked around him, or at least worked very carefully. When you see a guy swinging the way he is, I mean, he almost homered in the 1st. He did homer in the 4th. He's kind of in that homer groove. You want to avoid any balls that he can hit hard.
Yes. Yeah, if you walk him, it's not a bad thing.
Vogt with 14 homers, 56 runs driven in for Oakland. Popped him up right on the infield. And Santana makes the catch, 1 away. It's our Pat O'Brien play of the game to this point. We noted numerous times after watching it, it was a case where Gomes was set up away. That's where Kluber wanted to throw the pitch, but it ended up coming back over the inside part of the plate, right into the hot spot for Vogt. And he scorched it. But that's been it.
Yes, sir. Well, we figured between these two pitchers it was going to be that way today, and it's been exactly what we thought it was.
And if not for Burns, it would have been a solo homer. But Burns has had some pretty good at-bats against Corey Kluber. He ended up walking on a 3-2 pitch in that 4th inning ahead of Vogt, who then homered. Ben Zobrist 1 out of 3. His single came in the 6th inning. Right back up the middle. Lindor cuts it off, spins around and throws, but had to pull Santana off the bag. Not sure if Carlos could have reached for that and held his foot on the bag, but he wanted to make sure he didn't let it get by him.
Well, this ball going up the middle, and Lindor realized he had to get rid of it quickly. He's going to spin to get rid of it in a hurry, and you're just not accurate with. No, Santana had to come off to get that ball, so it'll go as an infield single. When you're spinning and trying to throw and be accurate is very difficult to do. So Zobrist gets his 2nd hit.
The mechanics of that particular spin is all the more difficult because the way he was spinning it makes it very hard to get your shoulder in line to make a good strong throw. It's almost naturally going to sail the way it did on him.
With the way you were moving, yeah. Towards the second base side, no question.
Reddick fouls one off of his foot. And the count is 1-1. Two balls and a strike. Crockett delivers, and Reddick smokes it to deep right field, but back is Moss and makes the catch right on the front part of the warning track for out number 2. Baseball's best will be in Cincinnati on Tuesday night for the Midsummer Classic. Home field for the World Series on the line. Coverage of the 2015 MLB All-Star Game begins at 7 Eastern on Fox, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Ike Davis 0 for 3. Our next game will be on Friday night from Cincinnati when the Indians take on the Reds. Tribe swept Cincinnati here at Progressive Field earlier this year. Popped him up. Might be playable. Here is Urshela over to the dugout. No, he can't get it. And into the dugout he goes tumbling. And he appears to be okay. Well, you never like to see that.
His boys are supposed to be there to help him out.
They kind of watched him go right on by.
I was going to say, man, that's your home dugout. You got to be there to help your guy. Look at, he's walking right down the stairs like he's going to get something. They didn't move.
Thought Andre could have reached out and grabbed him there.
He might have tripped him up.
Davis shoots one foul out of play. Two down in the ninth. The Indians will trail it 2-0. They count no balls and 2 strikes on Ike Davis. Ben Zobrist, the runner at first base. Zobrist has 1 stolen base on the year.
Unless they feel he might be throwing a curveball or a breaking ball, and it's an 0-2 count to try and get Davis here, and they just want to make sure he's not going on first movement. There it was.
Pop to left. Murphy makes the catch. We'll go to the bottom of the ninth. Oakland 2, Cleveland 0. 2-0 A's going to the bottom of the ninth. Let's look back at our keys to the game, brought to you by Wayside Furniture. Indians have played sterling defense behind Corey Kluber here today. A 2-run homer is all that we have seen offensively. Nothing for the Indians. They have 2 hits. 1-out single in the 4th by Lindor and a 2-out single by Urshela that was really hit hard in the 8th inning. But that's been it. Jose Ramirez going to start it for the Indians in the bottom of the ninth. Then it's Jason Kipnis and Lindor. Oakland bullpen quiet. Sonny Gray's 97th pitch of the afternoon is in for a strike. Ramirez has grounded out twice today. Strike 2 called.
Comes back with that good curveball that has been there all day long for Sonny Gray.
Slowly tapped to first. Davis will flip it over, and Gray tags the bag 1 away. Top of the order, Jason Kipnis to the plate. Kipnis 0 for 3 this afternoon, 1 out of 10 in the series. That'll make it 1 out of 11. Missed outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Minnesota has opened up a 5-1 lead over the Tigers. They're in the 4th. Kansas City shutting out Toronto 6-0. They're in the 4th. Here it's 2-0 Oakland in the 9th. Sonny Gray has been better than advertised. The 1-2. Another strikeout, number 5 on the afternoon. 2 down in the bottom of the 9th. Lindor 1 for 3. His hit in the 4th inning, a single right up the middle, was the only hit for the Tribe until a 2-out single by Urshela in the 8th. And a count 1-1. $20,611 the attendance here this afternoon. 1-1 pitch. Been good crowds all weekend long.
Yes, there has.
But unfortunately, unless the Indians can rally, it'll be another series loss here at home.
Oakland looking for another shutout. That would give them 12. And if they can't score, it'll be the 8th time the Indians have been shut out.
The 1-2. Lindor out on strikes. And another shutout for the Oakland A's. Sonny Gray goes the distance. It's his first complete game of the year. He blanks the Indians on just 2 hits as the A's win it by a final score of 2-0. Gray strikes out 6 batters on the afternoon and only needs 107 pitches to complete the shutout. It's the first complete game shutout against the Indians here at Progressive Field this year. Oakland wins the series, taking 2 out of 3. And they'll leave town 41-50 on the year. The Indians go into the All-Star break at 42-46. With the win, Sonny Gray is 10-3. Corey Kluber, the tough luck loser, once again, he is now 4-10 on the season.
Not much you can do right there. 8th time the Indians were shut out. That's the 12th for the A's. That was a great. We knew we were going to get a great pitch game. Unfortunately, again, how many times have we said this, Matt, during the course of the year? Corey Kluber on the mound. The Indians don't score. The worst run support in the league continues for a guy that's really doing a nice job pitching the baseball. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah,
it's time and time again.
Too many times this has been the story this year for Cleveland. So they'll go into the All-Star break trying to figure out a way to get the offense rolling coming out of the break. When we greet you next, it will be Friday night in Cincinnati when the Tribe takes on the Reds. For Rick Manning and Andre Knott, I'm Matt Underwood. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Indians Live is coming up next.